a small town where life moves at a steady rhythm, a McDonald's restaurant serves as a hub for first responders during their busy shifts. Police officers, firefighters, and paramedics often stop by for a quick meal, taking a moment to recharge before heading back into the field. On this particular afternoon, the restaurant was alive with the sound of trays clattering, casual laughter, and soft conversation. A comforting routine for those whose days are anything but predictable. Then the door opened with a soft chime. At first, no one looked up. Customers came and went all the time. This was nothing unusual. But as the man who entered walked toward the counter, a quiet ripple of curiosity spread through the room. He was tall and casually dressed, his demeanor unassuming, yet there was something about him that seemed familiar. "Wait, is that Elon Musk?" someone whispered, breaking the quiet hum of the restaurant. Heads turned, conversations hushed. The disbelief in the room was palpable. What was Elon Musk, the man synonymous with innovation and ambition, doing here in this unremarkable corner of the world? The setting was surreal. Elon Musk, the billionaire who dreams of colonizing Mars and revolutionizing sustainable energy, stood in the middle of a small-town McDonald's, surrounded by first responders in their uniforms. It was an image so incongruous that it felt almost unreal, yet it was happening. And what unfolded next would leave everyone in that room, and eventually the world, astounded. The small-town McDonald's was no stranger to a steady stream of first responders. It was a sanctuary for those who spent their days rushing into emergencies, a place where they could grab a quick meal and for a moment feel normal. On this particular afternoon, the restaurant was bustling as usual, its atmosphere warm and inviting. Amid the familiar hum of clattering trays and soft banter, the door opened with a gentle chime. Most people didn't bother looking up, just another customer, they thought. But as the man walked in, something about him caught the attention of a few observant diners. He was dressed simply in a plain t-shirt and jeans, blending in with the casual vibe of the place. Yet there was an unmistakable air of confidence in his stride, a quiet charisma that seemed to command attention without effort. One of the paramedics nudged his colleague, whispering under his breath, "Doesn't that guy look like Elon Musk?" His companion chuckled, shaking his head in disbelief. "Here? No way. What would Elon Musk be doing in a McDonald's in the middle of nowhere?" But as the man approached the counter, their skepticism began to waver. Whispers rippled through the restaurant as more heads turned, eyes widening in recognition. Yes, it was unmistakable now. The sharp jawline, the piercing eyes, the man who had become a symbol of innovation and ambition. This was Elon Musk. Despite the growing buzz in the room, Musk appeared completely unfazed. He stepped up to the counter, smiling warmly at the cashier. "I'll take a quarter-pounder with cheese, large fries, and a Coke," he said, his tone casual as if he were just another customer. The cashier blinked, her brain clearly struggling to process the moment. She stammered as she punched in the order, her hands slightly shaky. Then Musk added with a sly grin, "Oh, and can I pay with Dogecoin?" A ripple of laughter spread through the room. The cashier, now visibly more at ease, let out a nervous chuckle. "Sorry, we only take credit," she replied, her voice tinged with both awe and humor. Musk handed over his card, completing the transaction like any other patron. As he stepped aside to wait for his food, the room buzzed with quiet excitement. Phones were discreetly pulled out to snap pictures, and hushed conversations filled the air. Yet no one dared approach him. At least, not at first. Finally, after a long moment of hesitation, a firefighter mustered the courage to break the ice. He walked up to Musk, his voice carrying a mix of respect and curiosity. "So, what brings you to a McDonald's in a place like this?" Musk looked up from his phone, a friendly smile spreading across his face. "Well," he said, shrugging lightly, "I've been traveling a lot lately, and sometimes you just want something simple. Plus," he added with a playful grin, "McDonald's makes a pretty good burger." The firefighter chuckled, the tension melting away. In that instant, the billionaire standing before him didn't seem so unreachable. He was just a man, hungry for a quick meal, sharing a moment of normalcy in an otherwise extraordinary life. As Musk's meal was prepared, the room's energy began to shift. The initial shock of seeing a billionaire in their midst gave way to curiosity. First responders, who spent their days confronting life-and-death situations, found themselves captivated by this man, who often spoke of changing the course of humanity. Slowly but surely, more people gathered the courage to approach him. A second firefighter, emboldened by his colleagues' interaction, leaned in with a grin. "So, what's next on the agenda? Another rocket to Mars?" Musk chuckled, clearly accustomed to such questions. "Actually, yeah," he replied with a twinkle in his eye. "We're working hard to make that happen. But today—" He paused, gesturing to his meal as the cashier placed it on the counter. "Today's all about burgers." The light-hearted response drew laughter from the room. It was as if the ice had been completely broken. Musk, the man whose ambitions often seemed out of this world, had managed to connect with them on the simplest of levels, a shared appreciation for fast food. What began as casual banter soon turned into an impromptu question-and-answer session. The first responders, many of whom had long admired Musk's work, peppered him with questions about Tesla, SpaceX, and Neuralink. Despite the barrage of inquiries, Musk answered each one with patience and enthusiasm, often sprinkling in humor. A paramedic seated at a nearby table called out, "How do you manage it all? Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, X? Do you even sleep?" Musk smiled, clearly amused by the question. "I get that a lot," he admitted. "I do sleep, just not much. But if you're passionate about what you do, you find the energy." He paused, his expression turning thoughtful. "Honestly, I try to keep things simple when I can. Like today, I'm just here for a burger." The sincerity of his words resonated deeply with the crowd. Despite his towering achievements, Musk came across as approachable and grounded, someone who valued simplicity in the midst of his complex life. Amid the laughter and camaraderie, a firefighter posed a question that shifted the tone of the conversation. His voice was quiet but carried a weight that silenced the room. "Do you ever think about how your work impacts people like us? I mean, rockets and electric cars are amazing, but how does that help us out here, on the ground?" The room grew still, the gravity of the question hanging in the air. Musk paused, his gaze sweeping across the room, taking in the faces of the men and women in uniform. For a moment he seemed lost in thought. "You know," he began, his voice reflective, "I've always focused on the future, on pushing boundaries and creating technology that moves society forward. But I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever considered it from your perspective until now." The first responders listened intently, their attention riveted on his every word. "It's easy to get caught up in the big picture," Musk continued, "but seeing all of you here, it's a powerful reminder that the future isn't just about technology. It's about people. It's about making sure that what we build supports those who protect and serve, people like you." Musk's reflective words had struck a chord, filling the room with a newfound sense of connection. The first responders, who were used to being thanked with polite nods or brief acknowledgments, now felt genuinely seen and valued. But Musk wasn't finished. His actions would soon speak even louder than it. After a brief pause, Musk reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. He stared at it for a moment, as though weighing a decision. Then, without a word, he began typing rapidly. The room was silent, the first responders exchanging curious glances as they watched him. Finally, Musk looked up, his expression calm but resolute. "All right," he said, tucking his phone back into his pocket. "It's done." A firefighter couldn't contain his curiosity. "What's done?" he asked. Musk smiled. "I just made a donation," he replied. "Enough to cover brand new equipment for all the fire stations and police departments. Not just here in this town, but across the entire area." For a moment the room was utterly silent, the weight of his words sinking in. Then, as the realization hit, gasps of disbelief rippled through the crowd. Some exchanged stunned looks, others quietly wiped away tears. This wasn't just a generous gesture. It was a game changer, a tangible acknowledgement of the risks they faced every day. The first responders were overwhelmed. A paramedic, her voice choked with emotion, finally broke the silence. "You didn't have to do that," she said, tears welling in her eyes. Musk's tone was soft but firm. "No, I didn't," he said. "But I wanted to. What you do, putting your lives on the line every day to keep the rest of us safe, matters more than most people realize. If I can help, even in a small way, it's the least I can do." His words hung in the air, resonating deeply with everyone in the room. For these men and women who faced danger daily, Musk's gesture wasn't just about money. It was about recognition, about someone of his stature taking the time to acknowledge their sacrifices and show that their work mattered. As Musk prepared to leave, the first responders gathered around him, not for selfies or autographs, but to shake his hand and express their heartfelt thanks. One firefighter, still visibly moved, said, "You've given us more than just equipment. You've given us hope." Musk nodded, his expression thoughtful. "Honestly," he said, "I came here for a burger, but I'm leaving with a lot more. You've given me a lot to think about." The moment felt profound, a connection bridging the gap between the world of billion-dollar innovations and the day-to-day reality of those who protect and serve. As Musk walked toward the door, a round of applause erupted, spontaneous and heartfelt. It wasn't just a gesture of gratitude. It was a celebration of the shared humanity that had brought them all together. As the applause subsided and the door closed behind Elon Musk, the first responders remained, their conversations filled with a mixture of awe and gratitude. This wasn't just another celebrity encounter. What had started as an ordinary lunch break had turned into a moment that would leave an indelible mark on their lives. Musk's gesture wasn't about the money, though the donation was undeniably impactful. It was about the validation, the acknowledgement that their work, often taken for granted, was essential not only for the safety of their community, but for the future of society itself. For first responders who face unimaginable challenges daily, this recognition was back at their stations. The first responders shared the story with their colleagues, and the impact of Musk's visit began to ripple outward. Local news picked up the story, celebrating not just the donation but the profound connection Musk had forged with these everyday heroes. The narrative inspired others to reflect on the unsung contributions of first responders and the importance of supporting those who dedicate their lives to helping others. Beyond the headlines, Musk's actions ignited conversations about the broader purpose of technology and innovation. Could the advancements of companies like Tesla and SpaceX do more to support those on the front lines? How could society better integrate groundbreaking technology with the practical needs of everyday heroes? These were questions Musk himself seemed to carry as he left the small McDonald's that day, perhaps with the seeds of new ideas forming in his mind. At its core, this story is about humanity, about bridging divides and recognizing the interconnectedness of all roles in society. Musk's visit reminded the first responders, and perhaps even himself, that success isn't just measured in rockets launched or electric cars sold. It's measured in the lives touched and the gratitude expressed. In a world often focused on individual achievements and technological milestones, this encounter offered a poignant reminder. The future isn't just built in boardrooms or laboratories. It's built in fire stations, hospitals, and police departments, in the hands of those who dedicate themselves to protecting and serving others. Elon Musk's unexpected visit to a small-town McDonald's teaches us several valuable lessons. Gratitude matters. Taking the time to acknowledge the sacrifices of others can have a profound impact. It's a reminder that even the smallest gestures of gratitude can leave a lasting impression. Bridging worlds, the story highlights the power of connection between seemingly disparate worlds. Whether you're building rockets or saving lives, every contribution plays a role in shaping a better future. Leading with humility. Musk's ability to engage with first responders on a personal level, despite his fame and wealth, underscores the importance of humility in leadership. True influence comes not from wealth or status, but from genuine human connection. As the first responders returned to their work, their spirits lifted by Musk's acknowledgement, they carried with them a renewed sense of purpose. This story reminds us all to reflect on the everyday heroes in our own lives. How can we support them? How can we show our appreciation for the sacrifices they make? If this story has inspired you, consider taking action. Whether it's through a donation, a kind word, or simply taking the time to say thank you, every effort matters. Let's honor the unsung heroes among us, the ones who quietly ensure our safety and well-being while asking for nothing in return. Elon Musk walked into that McDonald's for a simple meal, but he left having created a ripple effect that extended far beyond that small restaurant. His words and actions transformed an ordinary moment into an extraordinary one, reminding us all of the power of connection, humility, and gratitude. What about you? Have you ever had an unexpected encounter that left a lasting impact? Share your story in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspirational content that celebrates the power of human connection and resilience.